up to everybody? We are in our 33rd episode of the show, and today I have special Jennings on my show today, who has been named the new girls basketball head coach of Monteverde High School, right? Am I saying it right? I think I am, in Florida. So what's up to Florida? The former professional athlete has joined the academy after spending 2 years as associate head coach at UIC. Am I correct? Okay, well, I used to practice over there, ABL, Chicago Condors, me, Yolanda Griffith, and Kathy Boswell. We used to tear it up over there. You played a critical role in scouting, player development, planning, conducting practices, and player development on and off of the court, which is really important. As a baller, she started at Xavier U, holding it down over there, and you played professionally in Finland to finish out your career on the court. Special, welcome to the show, where we mainly discuss basketball, but we love other sports. Today we have an all-star cast of ballers, which makes for a great show. Thanks for joining us today. What's up, Special? How you doing?
What's going on? What's going on?
All right, Miss Smooth, Miss Smooth. You know, I know it must be easy to be number one in the country for a second there. I don't know. I saw it. I was like, what's going on? You number one in the country? I think you took a loss last Saturday, right? That was your first loss.
It was about a couple weeks ago. But we took a loss to Lake Highland Prep on January 6th, actually. January 6th.
Whoa, so how you living? Give us a glimpse into, what you're doing today. I know you've got, listen, I didn't even write down all of the stuff that you did because I would still be talking and then we'd just be missing the show. And I really want people to get to know you because you're doing your thing, at a young age, people can see. And so, just talk to us about what's up. You got named, what was it, in August?
End of August.
Ching ching.
End of August. Ching ching.
Sunday
there
brunch, baby. All right, that's what's up.
End of August. But yeah, it's just every day is different. I'm just I'm kind of enjoying the journey right now. You say it's easy being number one. It's actually quite difficult. Trying to remain like chasing a goal. Some people get complacent when they've reached a certain level and things like that. And this is just the beginning. It's my first year and it's the fourth. And for us to have a turnaround that we've had, it's, day in and day out, these young ladies work hard and I couldn't ask for a better group to start my journey. But it's definitely been a ride. And I just, like I said, every day is different. Bring something different to the table.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know what I'm saying? And you're down there in Florida, so y'all get the sun and you get the temperature to be able to really do the things that you need to do as a basketball player. Get outside and run, do some hills, use all different terrain to get in shape. Run on the beach, which people have no idea about running on the beach. I did plenty of that in Brazil with no shoes on. Hard to do. So, talk about the training regimen that you have, because it obviously has to be something fantastic for these kids to be number one, and they've really bought into your philosophy, and we'll talk about that next.
Yeah, so the training, my verb, the school provides excellent facilities, and so we have 3 gyms. We have our own state-of-the-art weight room. We actually have 2 weight rooms, one in which is in one of the practice gyms, but one that's actually in our actual arena, in which we call the nest. But we have our own. You have a strength and conditioning coach, Tim Crawley, who's really good. He worked with USA, like phenomenal. So he puts them through all the weightlifting and things like that. But I'm young, but I'm old school. So we, like you said, we get the hill work in. We have a hill actually in the back of our school with a sand pit at the bottom of it behind our track. So we definitely we mix it up. We mix it up a little. Sometimes we go long, sometimes we go short. We do sprints, we do different things, and I think that's great for them. Getting to see different ways to train. I think one way kind of not to say you get bored, but you can kind of, if you coming in just running lines every day, that's kind of boring. So just finding different ways to train. And
Yeah.
we're fortunate enough to have those facilities.
Yeah, absolutely. Sound like IMG Academy down there, something like that. Down there in Florida, y'all doing it big, where you're providing, the atmosphere for kids to excel. When I was growing up here in Bayonne, unfortunately, it's not like that anymore. But when I was growing up here, they had the facility. They provided the facilities for us to be successful. Imagine this day and age. I grew up in the PAL, in the Police Athletic League, which is known around the country, to no longer even be something that is provided for our kids right now, and they don't have a PAL here in Bayonne that they could go to, which is sad to me because that takes away every bit of their opportunity, not just on the floor, because they had arts and crafts, they had study hall, they had all kinds of things that we could learn. And so kudos to you guys down there in Florida for having those types of facilities. Talk about how it was and it is difficult to get kids to buy into your philosophy. How did you get them to buy into your philosophy? And what is that?
Well, it's I'm not really a huge philosophy person. I'm more of like I said, every day is different. Each year is going to be different. Each kid is different. And so, when I first took the job here, the first thing that I really had to do for these kids to buy into what I did want to present was just to get to know them and fill them out and get them to trust me. I didn't come in, kick the door down like it's my way or the highway. And, you know, change is different, especially for younger kids. And having to have a new coach is that's a process in itself. And so I didn't want to come in and just start throwing rules and things like that at them. I wanted to first get to know them, as people, and gain their trust, so that they trust the fact that I knew what I was talking about, and whatever vision I had, I wanted to be able to have them just follow me, um, without doubt or worry. And the only way you do that is by, them getting to know you on a personal level. And so that was the first thing for me when I got here.
Yeah, and that is a philosophy, and something that I always do. It means so much to one of my kids to grab him, take him across the street. Let's get a slice of pizza. All right, you got a problem. After practice, I'm sitting there. I pass you over a Chewy, and you sit there and you talk to me about what's going on. It really isn't all about telling people what to do, giving them rules and this, that, and the third. You have to get to know these kids, because you are right. They are different, and each one of them has a different lifestyle. Each one of them has a different home life, home training. And so you got to meet each one of them where they're standing, where they are. One of them you might be able to just grill. Get on the line, blah, 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 blah. That kid will not break. The other one, you got to sweep them up with a broom. Now, come on. You got to love those kids. So, but you want everybody to get to a point where they can endure, where they can be harder, where they can, they go harder. Because you have to play the sport. You got to be hard, man.
Yeah, that's coaching 101 on every level. I mean, no matter what level you go to, you have to. If you don't know the kids, I mean, if all they feel like you care about is them as an athlete, then you're not gonna have their full attention or their full respect anyway. And so,
Yeah.
I totally agree with you.
Because I'll stand out there. I'm out there doing the dances. You know what I'm saying? I'll hit you with a TikTok if you need me to. I think my Instagram is up to par. I get out there on the stories and the reels and the different things like that. You got to know these things. You got to be about that and meet them where they are. And the more you do that, the better it is. And coming from so many different levels, from elementary school that I coached to high school to being out there with the G League guys, it's girls college basketball at Old Dominion. Tell you, you just gotta know. You gotta know. And that's all about that's about the personal development, player development. It's not enough to get out there and shoot with them and throw the ball. You gotta go out there, you gotta go with them and, eat some pizza every now and again. You know what I'm talking about? Special, you hit that right on the port in the on the head. And the next question I want to ask you is, how important is it to make your kids understand how hard and how much work is involved in this game?
I mean, it's like you said, you have to meet people where they are. You know, every player is different. Every person on my team right now is different. You know, the aspirations are different. Some say, you know, hey, I want to be a pro after college. Some say, you know, I want to go to college to get a degree. And some just, you know, they're happy to be here. And so you have to kind of meet them where they are. And I think coaches, we frustrate ourselves at times where, you know, my background is, you know, I played at a high level, I played professional things like that. And when I first became a coach, like I was forcing that on everybody. I thought everybody, like, man, you're not getting up extra shots. You're not. What do you mean you're not getting to the gym four times a day? But everybody doesn't have that aspiration, or you know, they want to play the game on a certain level or whatever level that may be. And sometimes you got to get to know them and ask them. You know, now what I do, I ask kids, hey, what do you want to do with basketball? Like, what are you looking to get out of it? And if some say, hey, I just want to go to school, okay, I know where to meet you. Some say, I want to be a pro. Oh, now I really know where to meet you. And so, you know, that's what it is for me, just kind of figuring out who is what level and try to push them toward that.
Man, that's awesome because you do. And as high school players, you know, what do you think the high school players should be working on? And I'm talking about a high school player that wants to go to college. Maybe that might be it for him. But usually if you play college, you're going to want to go further. That's just the way that it is. Once you get that in you and then you realize that you could make some money, and if you're good enough, you could really do that and provide a nice life for yourself, you know, until you do decide what you're gonna do in life, because eventually we all meet that. Our retirement is so early, you know, that, you know, here I am 38 years old, and I'm telling people, like, what do you do? I'm retired. What? I'm 30. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, it's a weird place to be. So like, what do you tell kids that, you know, that they need to work on to get to the next level? Because you obviously coached on a college level, and then you played on a pro level.
Fundamentals for sure, no matter what level. Fundamentals. Like, you know, you have these kids, and it's crazy. The TV show you one thing, you know, they give you sometimes a false sense of reality because everybody think what they see is what they should be doing. You know, like a lot of these kids are in seventh and eighth grade and like, I'm training to play in the NBA. No, you need to be training to go to high school. And then when you're in high school, you're training to go to college. And then when you're in college, you're training to be a pro. Like we skip so many levels. And so fundamentals, you know, instead of kids don't know how to do a reverse pivot, but they want to do step backs. Or, you know, you don't know how to, you know, engage too and see who's open or just different things. Like we're just missing so many steps. But fundamentals, every level.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. Um, I was over in Brazil, short story, with a player, and I got over there first, and they were like, listen, we're going to bring in another player because we need another American. Okay, no problem, you know? So, girl comes over. I kid you not, she might have been there for about a month, and, you know, I said to my coach, I said, you know, well, why did you cut her? She says, an American player that's not fundamentally sound is unacceptable. She had to go home. And I was like, okay, you know, and my coach was Mary Ann Stanley, Indiana Fever, Old Dominion University, coached at several schools, California, USA, you know, has great players under her belt, starting with Ann Donovan Inglis, and all of us are fundamentally sound. I'll name them out. Nancy Lieberman, fundamentally sound. Ann Donovan, fundamentally sound. Ing listen, Medina Dixon, okay? Adrian Goodson, Tracy Claxton, Donna Harrington. Go on and on and on with names. Lisa Leslie, Tina Thompson, okay? How fundamentally sound are those players?
Very.
Lisa beat you up inside if you don't understand how to defend the drop step,
Absolutely.
okay? And it was just pounding it inside. A coach passing it to you, you reverse pivot, shoot. Reverse pivot, one dribble, lay it up. Just simple things like that. Repetition, that's so important. And you're right about people skipping levels. But see, in today's day and age, except for the WNBA, maybe one player. okay, that didn't go into college and come in the league. You know, overseas is a different thing. You coming in, all right? You get players now that go, hey, listen, especially on the men's side, I could go into the G League 18 now. I ain't got to go to college. So when you have that type of mentality and you have social media feeding you certain things, then of course you're going to naturally migrate to wanting to go to that and then skip over every single step involved. Even though you know that you want to go in the G League, you still have to be fundamentally sound. If you can't lay it up, if you can't run the PNR, and if you don't even know what I'm talking about when I say PNR, if you
Right.
can't go PNR PG or PNR to the P, then what you don't know what you're doing. All the way to the terminology. Elaborate on that.
Man, you like hit it on the head. You hit it on the head. I mean, P&R with the pick and roll and like you said, terminologies. I like I said, I feel the same way. Feel the same way. I'm always gonna be 1,000% about the fundamentals. And if you lack that, then I mean that's to me 80+% of skill, just skill, fundamental. You can't work on combo moves and all that and get your footwork 1,000%. And somebody, oh, I see Steph Curry did this. He's fundamentally sound though. Like, did you
You know
see what he
how
did
many
before he made the
moves?
shot? Right. You know how many moves go into his one move? Like, he did 5 moves, but they were so quick and so fundamental that you think it's just he does it with ease, and it's like no, like that takes work, and a lot of it, like that takes work.
A minimum of 10,000 hours. They say, oh, 10,000 hours. Yeah, that's 10,000 hours just to touch the surface.
Man,
Okay? You got to give me 20,000 more. You know what I mean? For him to stand there, boom, 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 bap, boom, 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 bap. And he's
and it's
doing
so
that probably a
quick,
gazillion times. Just that move before he even goes to shooting it.
man.
They don't do that. So that's the same thing I'm trying to convey to kids is that, you have to be able to read the defense. This is where I am right now. I'm screaming, read the defense. Why are you driving to that man when he gave you the jumper? Why do you keep doing that? And these are the simple things that I'm talking about, going from when you in elementary school, if you got a coach that's teaching you that, oh my goodness, kudos. You learn that stuff in high school. Okay? How to read the defense, how to come off the screen. No, he jumped over the screen. All right, well then you gotta pop back and he's
You're
gonna pass it
supposed
over
to
the
learn
top.
that though. That's the key. You're
Exactly.
supposed to learn that, and that's a big, like, a lot of people aren't teaching that. A lot of people aren't teaching. Like, you see a lot of the coaches too that's they're watching the NBA or the WNBA, or they're watching all these other things, and they're not teaching the things necessary for that specific level. I mean, when you get to talking about hedging and icing screens and all those type of things, I can name on one hand how many high schools is teaching that. And so like that's why I feel like my niche, I would be good. When I saw my work come over, I'm like, man, I would rock that, because I know that I can go and teach all of those fundamental things that these kids are not having when they get to us, or when they got to me at the collegiate level. So yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
Important.
Yeah, that's great. And it's great that God is using you on the high school level now, so this way you could be one of the few that are teaching these kids what they need to know, so that when they go, they can, they'll really be fundamentally sound when they get ready to go to college. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure you'll get a lot of people coming to you for some players. I'm sure you probably got some diamonds down there now. So, what's the biggest difference that you see between high school and college? You've taught on both levels. What's the biggest difference for you?
Um, I think at this level, it's way more hands on. At the collegiate level, you're dealing with the 18 to 22-year-olds, and at that point, they're more so independent. Whereas at this level, I'm finding myself in more of a, I want to say mother, because I'm not old enough to be any of my kids' mother, but like a more of the aura is motherly. I have to be a little more sensitive, a little more, just a little more involved in their actual life. And not saying that you have to be that at the collegiate level, but it's like to the 10th power at the high school level. So that's probably like one of the biggest difference. These kids are still, mommy and daddy, still coddled, still at home, still, they haven't been out on their own. But the fortunate thing for my kids is that, at our school we're a boarding school, and so they are living on campus, majority of them. And so that's when I say that mother role is like, I'm an extension of their parents, and so I have to be way more hands on with them.
Oh, okay. So what do? You go out and you recruit kids to give them a scholarship? How does a kid that's watching right now, and there's a few, um, come to Monteverde?
Well, first of all, we have a dynamic academics here at Montverde Academy. I mean, we have 34 AP courses. We have over 90 countries at our school. We are probably one of the most diverse high schools in the country. And so, that's the first attraction there, is that we have a very, very good academic school. The second thing would be, we don't use the term scholarships because we don't give scholarships. Our school is based on financial aid. Go through financial aid process
Yeah.
and things like that. Yeah, so we use financial aid. And then obviously, just for our basketball program, just having a product that is, you know, worth selling to people, saying that, hey, listen, this is what I'm selling. I think that if I don't think, but if you come here, you're going to get a quality education. You're going to get pushed to your fullest potential. You're going to get the layout of what it would be like to go to college, because, our kids are on campus. They have an itinerary of, class schedules. We have study hall. They eat at a certain time. We practice, we lift, all those things. So you're getting warmed up to what it would be like to go to college. And so, all those things attract athletes that want to play at that next level. And just very fortunate that we were able to provide those options.
Wow. That's hot. That's hot. You know, um, from your perspective, discuss basketball and how it has grown. What's the difference between when you came out, you were playing, and now?
I think it's grown. Like, man, you see a lot of, yeah, post, like, not, you don't have a ton of traditional post players now. And I know you see it in the NBA, but even on the girls' side, I mean, I just watched a video yesterday of the young lady that's at Stanford that she's like just dunking with ease, and different girls, catching alley oops and stuff now. It's just like, wow, this is different. I mean, I was fortunate enough, I played with Amber Harris at Xavier, who was capable of dunking the ball. But we never got to do it in the game. She tip dunked with two hands, slapped the backboard in one game. But as far as now, you're actually seeing that in games. Also, like the post centers, they're able to dribble and stretch the floor and spread the defense, and you know, pretty good passers. I mean, so the game is sped up. I mean, it's a little faster, which I think makes great for people to want to watch.
People need to know, what's up on with the girls on the girls level, high school, and what it takes to even get to that level. You were not you. I'm just gonna claim it that you're gonna stay number one in the country. It
Yeah,
ain't an
the
easy thing.
goal.
It ain't an easy thing to do. There's a lot of hard work. Everybody's coming after you. Every single team that you meet is coming with their A game. And that's hard to compete with. Talk to me about some of your heavy hitters. Who you got down there that wow, that wowed you. Not to call out your players, because I know you probably all of them from 1 through 10 is great.
Yeah, I mean, as far as teams, you asked me what team wowed me.
Yeah, on your
Um,
team. Like I want to know. I want to know the players on your team.
oh,
Call
my
them
team.
out.
Yeah, I think I have a what I would call a well balanced team. We have seniors, Mariana Valenzuela, Nevaeh Henley, and Valentino Ojega, who kind of are heading the bunch as seniors, but have some stellar underclassmen. Fernanda Ovier. I have Rasna Agustinite, Miracle Shepherd, Fatima Jaete. I think I have a little freshman guard that's starting to develop, Aaliyah Perry, and then a couple other young ladies. Diana Provanzio, Javier Vegra, and I'm missing somebody. Oh, Maria Macobus. Of course, can't forget about Maria, who's also a senior now. So I think that, I have a well-balanced team. Gracie Hall, so it's been fun. Like I said, starting out, it's been real fun to coach these young ladies. We've played a good schedule, played a really good schedule. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
that's good. I'm looking forward to seeing these kids and seeing them on some on the next level. What schools are coming? What schools are you seeing? What schools are you hearing from right now?
Well, Mariana signed to Florida State. Um, Nevaeh Henley's going to Furman. Valentina is still open. Maria McElbus is open right now because she was a 22 that just moved up to 21, and so she has a few things. But my underclassmen are getting BCS looks as well, and so I have 10th graders, 11th graders. So we'll see. The choice will be theirs.
Yeah, and if they work hard and of course to go to the academy, your grades have to be right.
Absolutely. 2.5 to get in.
2.5 to get in, and that's not difficult to do.
It's not.
It's not difficult to do. If you apply yourself, you can do it. Sometimes, I would get a hard C, man, because I just could not do better than that. But my mother understood a hard C.
Yeah.
She didn't understand a lazy F or,
Oh
a
no.
lazy E, those types of things. But if you put your effort into it, then sometimes you got to accept that. But, for the most part, your grades got to be on point, which is something that I'm battling with my guys right now. Telling them, listen, especially for your seniors, like what are you thinking about? I understand that it's COVID, and a lot of kids right now are trying to use COVID as an excuse to not work hard, regardless as to whether there's COVID or not. The curriculum has changed, and also the way we learn has changed. You're getting the opportunity to learn how they actually learn in college online and going up on, going in Slack. You're gonna have to learn how to do it anyway. So, it's definitely a battle, you know. I'm glad, I'm sure that you've had to have educational conversations with people though.
Yeah, I mean, again, fortunate enough to have a stellar young ladies, where, I have a lot of half my team is mega cum laude, and so their grades are outstanding. So, they apply themselves. I don't have a ton of, talks where I have to say, hey, you're not getting it done in the classroom. They understand what it means to wear a Montbird across your chest. It's not just you playing basketball, but you have to be in those books.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100. I'm saying no books, no ball. One of my friends pushed that on me a lot. Um, so what teams you like in the W?
Man, come on, man. One of my girls, well, I was look not last year, the year before. I was at all the Chicago Sky games. Few of the
Okay.
homies play for them, but one of my close friends is she's with Indiana Fever right now. She was with the Chicago Sky. But I still like Chicago. Diamond the Shields is still there. Courtney Vandersloot, Allie, all them, they're great. I like Washington. I like Washington. I like what they're doing. Um, I like obviously the Storm. Had a chance to speak with Dan Hughes a couple weeks ago on a podcast. So I love what he's doing. He's been obviously in the game for a very long time. Um, who else do I really Vegas? Vegas is Vegas.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I pretty much like all the teams. I like the fact that women have a platform, and so I like I like them all. But obviously some of my friends are on spread out.
Yeah, and I'm the same way too. It's like, I cheer for my friends' teams, but then when it comes down to the thick of it, eventually you're gonna have to choose between, if who you want to win, because usually it'll be, and if it's two teams are the same, I just, you just sit over there and you go crazy. But
Well, the decision would have been easy if they would have kept my Cleveland Rockers. I'm from Cleveland, so back then when we had Malakia Jones in them.
girl, you are a Cleveland girl. I see that you are a
Uh-huh,
Cleveland.
yeah. Back then when we had it going in Cleveland. So That would have been
Yeah,
a
you
no-brainer. It
feel.
would have been easy for me to decide what team that I like best. It would have been Cleveland. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for the people that started off over there, Rusha Brown, Mary Andrade from Old Dominion, you know, just that was a great spot. I used to love the pastor over there. I can't remember her name, slap your face, but she was just awesome because we always did, Bible, we always had the Bible study and stuff like that. Even before the game, and people would come in, they would have a choir and stuff like that. We used to lock it down in Utah. But okay, so those are your favorite teams. Give me call out some of your favorite players.
oh, Uno, Jantel Lavender, my favorite right there. Um,
Okay, all right.
Erica Wheeler, I rock with E. Um, I like Diamond DeShield's game. Obviously, Aja Wilson. Um, and old school. If you got to go back to Sue Bird, Becky Hammond, Don Staley, naming some legends. But right now in this day and age, I love, I like Tasha Howard. She just got like some grit to her. I love that grit. Um, who else? Angel McCautry she was different, but baby could play. Um, Kelsey Mitchell, Ohio girl. Gotta shout out Kelsey. She from Cincinnati, went to Ohio State.
Okay.
That's yeah, gotta shout her. I've been knowing her for a while. So yeah, those are. I mean, I like a lot of them, but those are. I mean, Brianna Stewart she's different. That girl's game is different. When Maya Moore was playing, I loved Maya Moore's game. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I'm feeling you on all them names, that you called out. Now, one more time on the spot, because people need to know. There's some bad high school players coming out, you know, um, this year. Who you think is going to the dance?
In college?
Who you think is going to the dance from who you think is going to go from high school to college? Who getting
Mm,
some
I think that man,
top, like the high school players that just the top 10, the players that
yeah.
who's standing out when they go, you gonna know their name.
You know what? I think that one of the best players we've played this year, um, Sinai Fegan, who's going to South Carolina, plays for Forest Park. That kid is about 6'2", 6'3", somewhere in there. Can handle the ball. She just, I mean, she has game, and I think she's like number 4 in the ESPN Top 100. But she can play. Like she can flat out play.
Okay, now
Obviously,
she,
Dawn Staley and what they got going on in South Carolina, she's going to continue to bring pieces in. But
oh goodness.
that kid can go. We played against Omariah, Omariah Gordon. He's going to Florida State. He plays at Braden River. Little guard, not big, crafty, can shoot it, can get in between the gaps. He has the floater to the game, finish at the rim, both hands. She can pass it. I mean, she's probably one of the best guards we've played all year. Like she's good. The young lady, Madison Connor, and she's signed to go to Arizona. She plays for Arizona Compass Prep right now. She reminds me of like a Klay Thompson. Footwork, immaculate, just quick shot, shoot the ball. She's probably one of the best shooters I've seen on the high school level this year. Very, very, very good. I think that she's gonna be great at Arizona. I know that Arizona brought in a couple very good young ladies to help that program, which this year they're top 25. So they got some pieces coming in. Obviously, I'm gonna have to say my kid, Mariana Valenzuela, who's going to Florida State. She's a stretch four, can hit the three, mid range game, put the ball on the floor, combo moves around the basket. So I think the way that Stu and all those people over at Florida State, the way they play and who they have coming in, I think that they're going to be really good moving forward. And then the kid, Kayla Blackshear. He plays for Lake Highland Prep, the team we actually lost to this year. She just had that. Her motor is just different. Like she plays hard. She rebounds. I mean, she got like Dennis Rodman rebounder to her, but can score around the basket. Like she's just physically strong. She just competes. Like, and she's going to Alabama. Like to me, Alabama got a steal. Like I think she's gonna kill it at Alabama. She's really good. And then obviously there's a handful of other top young ladies, but I wanted to shout out the young ladies that we actually had the opportunity to play against, so I can
Yeah.
let you know it's
Yeah.
not just what the papers are saying. They for real.
Like I said, I see how you came to the camera. No,
Uh-huh.
mine is for real, man. Like
Oh, they for real.
the press and coaches are always gonna big up who they want to big up. I was always on the end of that. You know what I'm saying? So, but those players that if you just keep playing hard, it doesn't matter. Like I'm a product of that. Like, I had to bust in the door. I had to kick in the door. You know what I'm saying? To get what I wanted all of the time. And it's not what I wanted to do, but it's what I had to do because you got to knock down that glass ceiling that you really can't see. So, shout out to those people that are playing hard, that are rebounding hard, that are diving on the floors, that just being a coach's jewel at this point right now. I love it when I have a player that's an extension of me, and you don't, there's a minimal amount of talking. You do all your talking in practice, like Phil Jackson said. I do all my talking in practice. That's why when he
Absolutely.
sideline, he could chill out because you got everything out you needed in practice. You do what you do in practice. Trust me, it's going to translate to the floor. If you have a busted practice, then guess what kind of game we're going to have?
A
And if
busted game.
you understand that, then that's when things get better. You agree?
Absolutely. I mean, if you watch me coach, I'm not a rah-rah, screaming and hollering type person because I say all the time, at game time, if they don't have it by now, they're not going to get it. That means I failed them in practice. We weren't prepared. And so, yeah, I agree. I do all my, hey, everything I would need to do in practice. And by game time, we ain't got it. We ain't got it. That's just what it is. You see so many coaches like screaming and talking, their kids through every single thing. And it's like at the next level, they're going to have to know how to do that without
Without
me
you
coaching
talking,
them every single second.
I
I'm not that person. I'm not, I don't, that's just not the way I coach. That's not my style. But, yeah,
I,
different.
I agree with you, sis, on that 100%. All that screaming and yelling and stuff like that. So not a part of my personality. And if they don't get it, they don't get it. You're right. There's somewhere that we failed in practice, and so it's really about getting after it, and that's where it happens. That's where it happens. And so, how can people keep up with you on social media? Any new things? Like, what's all your handles? How can a kid go, hey, coach, check me out, send the video? A parent say, hey, check my kid out, send the video. Or somebody just randomly want to look you up, like me, for a show.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I want you to follow our program. Follow us everywhere, online. Well, not everywhere, but on, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It's at MVAGBB. Montverde Academy, and we have updates from games to, the cool things in practice to, what gives you a glimpse of what we're kind of doing as a program. And then, my personal information, I can be reached everywhere, at Special Jennings on Twitter, on Instagram. Facebook is just my name, just to keep you with it. My email address for the coaches out there that want to reach out and connect, is special.jennings@montverde.org. I'm definitely reachable through email. I'm not one of those sedity coaches. I respond. Okay, you reach out, I respond in a timely fashion. So, yeah, check us out.
Yeah, I'm sure that people are definitely gonna check you out. I mean, after this show, I mean,